Okay, we have a real special speaker, and I wanted to personally present him. This person has been hiding for 30 years. I'm just kidding. But we can actually, he was clear number 2. I knew him in England in 1966. So this is going to be exciting. So we can choose between that speaker, or I can tell you some more jokes. Okay, here he is. Give him a real warm welcome. John Imburgia, clear number 2.
What are all you people?
Couldn't hear. I couldn't hear.
I got so excited, I went clear again. And I'm wondering, what are all you people doing? And I went clear. I got so blown up, I didn't know anything. I couldn't remember. I didn't know people's names. I used to go up to my friends and say hello and say, "What's your name?" I couldn't sleep. I slept one more night. It was wild. But anyway, it's always a pleasure. Trey gives me credit for bringing him to Scientology. I remember when he was a young guy. I guess I was younger too. Anyway, there's a lot of old timers here. I really enjoyed seeing some of the old timers from years ago. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm losing my voice a little bit today for some reason. Not a good day. But anyway, I want to thank Anita, Mary. What's your name? I want to thank you all. You're doing a good job. It's nice to be here. But seeing that I'm an old timer, is it okay if I go back 50-something years?
Yes.
How I came into Scientology? I was signed up. I got out of school. I was 18 years old. And I was signed up to go to college to be a chiropractor. And then my dad got sick, so I was helping him, and I didn't go. There's a friend of mine who was a chiropractor. Can you all hear me good? Okay, there's a friend of mine who was a chiropractor, and he gave me a book to read. It was Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health. I started reading that book. I couldn't lay it down. I read it in about 2 days. And said, what do I do next? I wanted to find out more about it, so I found out through Scientology. I didn't even know Scientology. I only knew Dianetics. And it was in Washington, D.C. So I contacted them, and I did the extension course. It was back and forth. You send me a lesson, do your stuff, they send it back to you. And I'd read the book, and that's all I had. Oh no, there was another thing. He gave me some reel-to-reel wire tapes. Ron was on, that was the first tapes we had on Ron that I knew of. And they were on wire tape. And it was Ron auditing. And it was also, he gave a few talks. We didn't have a lot. I went over and over those. From there, I signed up in Washington, D.C. I left Buffalo, New York. I lived in Buffalo, New York. And I left Buffalo when I was driving. And I knew about restimulation and stuff like that. I had there was no other Scientologist in Buffalo. So I couldn't get audited, I couldn't get anything. So I'm driving to Washington, D.C., and as I'm going along, all of a sudden, my nose starts running. My nose is running, I'm getting cold, I didn't feel good, and I figured it's restimulation, right? And I kept getting worse, and I'm getting more keyed in. I thought about going back, because I'd never been out of Buffalo. So it was a big thing to be going out on my own. So can you give me a bottle?
Absolutely.
So I'm driving there. I do get there. Before I left, I said, I don't know where to stay. So they told me various places, and somebody said, stay at the YMCA. So I said, okay, because I didn't have a lot of money. So I pulled in the park, and I go into the YMCA, get signed up and everything, and I go to the elevator. At the elevator, there's a guy standing there, and he starts talking to me. And, I'm new in the city and everything, so I get out of the elevator, go up a few floors, excuse me. And see, I'm not used to speaking anymore. But anyway, I go up a few floors, open the elevator door, and this guy is standing there. And he says, can I come talk to you in your room? I said, No, I'm walking towards my room, and he's propositioning. I didn't even fully know if he was or he wasn't, or what was going on. I knew he was sitting, I'm panicking. So I get to my room, get my key out, unlock the door quick. I said, I gotta go to bed, I gotta be to school in the morning. Lock the door. Didn't sleep with it that night, because I didn't know somebody was gonna break in. So anyway, the next day I drive to the York and found a different room. Go into the York, and it was strange. It was different to me. You know, here would be a Scientologist, and it was just different. I got silent and everything. A little bit worried about what this was all about, because I was brand new. So we started, I got into my first class, of course there, you signed up and you were in class, and that day I think probably I was in class. And John Fudge was, anybody know John Fudge?
Oh yeah.
John Fudge was the head of, at that time, he was, whatever they called him at that time. And what was it called?
Orgset? Where was that?
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I think he was either Orgset.
Orgset, was it called Orgset? Okay.
I think so.
Anyway, so that's where I met John Fudge and quite a few other people. I can't remember their names right now. But anyway, so I took my first training there. And one of the things I remember is we were doing CCHs. We were doing walk to the wall, look at the wall, touch the wall, that all the time. And one of the things that was stressed is you have to flatten the process, right? So I'm auditing this little girl. I was young, I was like 20 at that time. She was around that age. And she flips out. She's screaming and hollering and fighting and da-da-da at the top of her lungs. And before I know it, the staff are lined up over here because we had to flatten the process. This probably went on over an hour. And they're all watching us. So eventually she got flattened, she stayed and finished the course. And turned out all right. But through it, I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? I mean, this was my first auditing session. You know, I don't think we even did TRs back at that time. I don't remember doing TRs. I think it was, go ahead.
Oh, what year was that?
That was about 67, 68. 68. And so anyway, we got through that, and I did finish that course. I went back to Buffalo, New York, started a mission in Dutchman pretty soon. And I remember my first sprinkler, Charity Roberts, on the way north. She went on to be an OG7. She passed away about last year, I think it was. But she did a lot of services at Flag. She moved to Flag. She moved to Clearwater to be near Flag. But anyway, I was thinking back about Charity Roberts. I've been thinking since you asked me to come and do this about what I was going to talk about. All those lectures are gone.
Yeah.
Didn't get any of them? They're all gone. So I was thinking she was my first sprinkler. I started a church. I used to do church lectures on Sunday. I rented a little room on the second floor on Elmwood Avenue. And we'd do a church service every Sunday. And I taught courses and classes and stuff like that. And finally I had my first sprinkler. And I was thinking about how we used to audit back then. We had the little metal meters. Anybody seen those? They were about this big. It was metal. We didn't know what a free needle was. We didn't know any of that kind of stuff. We just audited until it seemed better. The other thing I was thinking about it is, you had the flat meter. It didn't have an arm on the back to hold the meter up. It laid flat. But the way we used to audit is, you know the chairs they had in school where you had the round part and the other part's open?
Yeah.
That's what we used to audit. So I had one of those. So you got your sprinkler, and you got your meter on your knee, and you got her, and you're writing it. I don't remember how we did it, but it was fun. Yeah. And I think the theory back then was no barriers between you and the sprinkler. And so it was different.